Segment, you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected.
Yeah.
That woke is a word used by the black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words
and
migrate.
So why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice. Who's not for that? But words do migrate.
At all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu?
Well, that's ridiculous.
Bill Maher didn't just disagree with Sunny Hostin. He went after her arguments and what he sees as the broader woke culture in Hollywood with sharp timing and cutting humor. The exchange felt less like a disagreement and more like a strategic dismantling of her points. What made it even more surprising is that both of them lean left politically, yet Maher made it clear he's no longer willing to follow what he views as rigid ideological rules. And he didn't hesitate to let Hostin know exactly where he stands.
Segment, you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected.
So what was it that sent activists, commentators, and Hollywood voices into full public meltdown mode? And what does this heated exchange signal about growing fractures inside the political left? Those questions took center stage after the interview, because the clash didn't feel like a simple debate. It looked more like two sides of the same political camp moving in very different directions.
Any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left? Watching people protest for a terrorist organization like Hamas? That straightened me up pretty quick.
Maher appeared on The View to promote his new book, but what started as a routine media stop turned into a tense back and forth. Instead of staying safe and promotional, he challenged positions coming from his own side. The moment Sunny Hostin pressed him on why he uses the term woke, the tone shifted. The conversation moved from light talk to a direct ideological confrontation, and it caught the panel off guard.
That in the first segment, you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected.
Yeah.
So the term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words migrate.
So why is that a bad...
Hostin tried to frame Maher as someone attacking a culture he once aligned with, implying inconsistency or hypocrisy on his part. It was a familiar rhetorical approach, one that often places the speaker on the defensive. But Maher didn't take the bait. He recognized what she was doing and refused to let the conversation be boxed into a trap about labels instead of ideas.
And originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice. Who's not for that? But words do migrate. Now, I'll use any term you want.
Okay.
Because maybe that is a word that's triggering, and so let's not use that word. I don't know. Want to call it the super far left?
Maher responded by explaining that words evolve over time and that the modern meaning of woke isn't the same as its original intent. He said he uses the term in the way it has been shaped by extreme behavior within activist circles, not its earlier usage. Instead of being cornered, he flipped the moment back on Hostin, forcing her to confront the broader cultural behavior he was criticizing.
Don't tell me that the left hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a joke. But,
Too dark.
Well, maybe it is, but it's true. I mean, if I had any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for a terrorist organization like Hamas, that straightened me up pretty quick.
He then pointed to what shocked him most in recent debates, especially over the Israel-Hamas conflict. Maher said he was stunned to see people within activist movements openly expressing sympathy for Hamas, a group whose ideology calls for Israel's destruction. For him, that crossed a moral line. He argued that some supporters ignored or excused violence while placing all blame on Israel, something he found deeply troubling.
I mean, it's just astounding to me that they can't tell the good guys from the bad guys. I mean, just morally. I mean, let me tell you, if you're for Hamas, just live in Gaza for a day. And I'm not talking about while the war is on. I mean, before the war. trust me, you would go running and screaming and begging to live in Tel Aviv, a place that has your values.
Maher also said that if many of the people criticizing Israel were honest, they would still rather live in Israel than in territories under Hamas rule, especially when it comes to women's freedoms. He drew a contrast between social rights in Israel and restrictions placed on women in places where hardline governance dominates. That comparison, he argued, revealed inconsistencies in the rhetoric used by some activists.
Women have no, I mean, this is a show watched by a lot of women. Women have no rights in this place, and a lot of majority Muslim countries around the world. I mean, there is no equal rights as far as speech, dress, opportunities for education, reproductive rights, freedom from sexual violence, freedom from sexual harassment.
The LGBTQ community.
Yes. That too. But you throw around the term apartheid. There is a gender apartheid in a lot of the world where women are second-class citizens at best.
From there, he widened the point by noting gender inequality in several countries that activist circles often defend on political grounds. He suggested that critics should spend time in those societies before romanticizing them in public debate. When the panel tried to pivot toward concern for civilians, Maher didn't dismiss compassion. Instead, he kept pressing the issue of ideological double standards.
All concerned about the innocent civilians that have been collectively punished and murdered, largely children and women. And are you at all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu?
Hostin then shifted tactics, implying that Maher's stance aligned him with indifference towards civilian suffering. Maher recognized the move and pushed back immediately. He argued that disagreeing with activist rhetoric does not make someone supportive of violence. Instead, he said the real problem is when moral arguments are used to shut down uncomfortable discussions rather than engage them honestly.
That's ridiculous, but it's a war.
Why?
It's a war because it's a war, and they were attacked and they're defending themselves. Now, this is a war. Do you think Hamas needs to be...
Once again, the exchange circled back to how debates are framed. Maher said that when his critics run out of persuasive points, they rely on moral accusation instead of substance. He didn't allow that framing to stand and countered by challenging the logic behind it. The audience reaction made it clear many people understood exactly what he was pointing out.
The question.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So how can we get out with a ceasefire?
All right. So Hamas needs to be destroyed because they are a terrorist organization who say openly that they want to commit genocide on the Jewish people, on the state of Israel. That's what from the river to the sea means. Okay? And they say it very openly. They said, we did this attack. They've attacked Israel 5 times. They've started 5 wars since they were given that land back. They could have chosen to turn that place into any place they wanted to, and they took a lot of money that they took from the international community and they spent it on bombs and guns and building tunnels. So if they need to be destroyed, how do we do that? It's a war. I don't know how to do that, and you don't know how to do that. I assume the Israeli... Of course, everybody is, but that's what happens in a war. Here's a way to stop that. Stop attacking Israel.
At one point, the studio applauded Maher's response, while Hostin sat quietly, clearly unhappy with how the exchange turned. Maher's calm delivery contrasted sharply with the tension on the panel. He made it clear he understands activist rhetoric because he once stood much closer to it, but he now believes it has drifted into extremes that silence honest discussion.
Nothing. Yeah. And it's narrative over truth. You know, I mean, it's not like when I hear people talk on either side of it, I always think they're lying. They're just telling me half of it.
Yeah.
And I never trust them anywhere until I check out the other half.
When the topic shifted to whether media narratives are shaped to reinforce particular viewpoints, Maher argued that some ideological groups care more about controlling narratives than pursuing truth. He said that disagreement often leads to attempts to shame or cancel rather than debate. That, he explained, is why he refuses to align himself with what he calls the modern woke movement.
Old school liberals, which I would mostly count myself as, old school conservatives, there's still some of those
You've
left.
You've changed, though.
Wait, what are the other two? Go ahead.
Well, that's what I was trying to find out in this book. I don't think I have. And, you know, we were saying in the break, we have to come up with a new word for woke. Let's have a contest because this is a word that's triggering. But, I mean, those concepts that are different than they were 5 years ago.
Maher described himself as an old-school liberal, someone who believes in social progress but also in practical solutions. He contrasted that with what he sees as performative activism that embraces symbolic suffering rather than real improvement. To illustrate, he said a traditional liberal would want to help the homeless access shelter, while a radical position would insist leaving them on the streets represents freedom.
Was a term that I thought we kind of came up with because people were calling them bums and vagrants and hobos.
Yeah, now that's
homeless. Now, no.
It's unhoused.
Well, it's people
Unhoused.
experiencing
Now it's
homelessness. But they're experiencing it on the street.
Yeah.
Okay, the liberal view of that was for compassion's sake. We're the liberals. We're compassionate. Let's get these people off the street.
Yeah.
That's not the view of the, whatever word we're going to come up with for this. Their view of the homeless is they're an endangered species that needs to be protected in their natural habitat, living their best life under a bridge.
Viewers reacted strongly to the exchange, with many praising Maher for challenging contradictions within modern activist culture. Some called out Hostin's framing and accused her of misrepresenting his words. Others said the segment exposed how discussions on The View often avoid alternative perspectives until someone forces the issue. Maher, for his part, kept his tone steady and continued making his case.
Biden just presents as old. It's not really fair.
No.
Because he's almost the same age. Trump is almost the same age as him.
I know.
But Trump doesn't present that way. You know, you look at somebody right away, you can kind of just sum them up. I mean, we are not young, but we don't present as old.
Yeah.
Biden does. I saw him yesterday making that speech.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, he's Gaddafi.
Before wrapping up, Maher also made remarks about President Biden's age and political capability, suggesting concerns about whether he remains fully effective in his role. The moment underscored Maher's willingness to criticize across the spectrum, not just opponents but also figures on his own side. His appearance didn't feel like a routine talk show visit. It felt like a deeper challenge to a movement he believes has drifted too far into ideological rigidity.